Hi, today we'll have an introduction to Tivoli Common Reporting 2.1. For those of you that don't know what Tivoli Common Reporting is, TCR is a shared component used across Tivoli products. It's used to simplify how your information is shared and visualized across your environment. The latest release is TCR 2.1 that was released in the end of 2010. With TCR, you can build your reports with drag and drop in a easy-to-use web-based authoring tool. For viewing your reports, as we'll see, there's a common UI for the various report formats. This means there's a common scheduler, distribution, security, and administration for the various report types. As far as sharing your reports, you can share them via email. You can save them to the file system for later use. You can view them as HTML, PDF, Excel, XML, as well as comma separated variable list. The remainder of the presentation will focus on what is new with Tivoli Common Reporting 2.1. As I mentioned earlier, there's a single common reporting interface. So all of your BERT-based reports show up in the same interface as your new Cognos-based reports do. So under common reporting, you'll see all the report types. This means there's a common UI for viewing your reports, scheduling your reports, emailing, administrative functions, regardless of whether they're BERT-based reports or Cognos-based reports. Of course, the BERT-based reports can be authored in the web-based editor still. Next, here's some tips on working with BERT-based reports in the new interface. So to import BERT-based report packages, use the CLI, the TRCMD that always existed in prior releases of TCR. Continue to use it, and that is your source for importing reports. You'll see an example there. -import, -bulk, point it to your package. How do you update a data source in a BERT report? There's a trcmd command for that right here, -modify, -data sources, and there's an example of the report, the data source, URL, the driver, user ID, and password. That report name can easily be gotten from running the list command listed there on the bottom. For any more information on these commands, see the TCR documentation. Also new in TCR 2.1 is the assistant to help users move from BERT-based reports to Cognos-based TCR reports. Now those reports don't have to be moved. This is only if the customer wants to have the reports moved to a Cognos-based. For example, if they want to edit those reports later on using the web-based authoring tools, that's when they would have to be in the new format. But I'll mention it once more. The reports don't need to be converted. This is simply if the customer wants to. So the assistant will preserve the style, the layout, the images, the parameters, the various chart types. Then later the user completes the report by dragging and dropping the product data into the appropriate fields in the report. For more details on converting reports to the new report format, see the TCR command line documentation for the -convert option. Next, we'll talk about load balancing. So in TCR 1.3, the dispatcher portion of this load balancing setup was introduced. That gave you the ability to install multiple report engines that take requests from a single gateway. So you'd have one console. When the report requests come in, they get dispatched to the multiple back-end engines, and that runs the appropriate report. And that was for Cognos-based reports in 1.3. For TCR 2.1, we've introduced load balancing on the front end, so that way you can load balance not only the back-end engines and the report requests, but the number of users on the front end. And that also supports BERT-based reports. For the BERT-based reports, you have to install those on each dispatcher machine. Lastly, we'll talk about resources. So the first ones listed here are the online and embedded documentation. Use your favorite search engine, search for Tivoli Common Reporting, and you'll find the official online documentation for not only 2.1 but the prior releases also. Also, within the TCR portlet, there's a blue question mark on the right. Click that for embedded help. That also gives you context-sensitive help for each panel. Also, there are Cognos online documentation, and that'll include things like administration and security of the reporting infrastructure within TCR, the report authoring itself, framework manager, and various other topics. I'll also mention DeveloperWorks. So go out there to find articles on TCR, videos for tips and techniques, and the report catalog that'll give you an idea of what reports are out there for TCR. That one you can easily find. Instead of copying the URL here, just search your favorite engine for Tivoli Common Reporting, and it'll be right up there next to the documentation link. For the support site, download iFixes, fix packs, that kind of thing. Instead of writing down the URL here, just search the web for IBM Fix Central. From there, you can pick Tivoli and then Tivoli Common Reporting, and it'll navigate you to your fixes. Formal education, there are various classes offered. If you're interested in any kind of data modeling, I suggest the course listed here in this URL. And lastly, I'll mention quick start services for TCR. There is a offering to help folks gear up to be able to efficiently use TCR, create reports, that kind of thing. That concludes the presentation. Thank you.